Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. It is a blustery day out there. You can see the flags blowing out of the north this afternoon. We got a fast main track firm turf course. Of course, later on we'll be seeing what will be happening to Acacia's hair throughout the afternoon. That's what we're going to be marking down each and every race out there.
No, I got you.
What do you?
It's up today.
She tied it down. See that? So forget that what I just said there. But really, an interesting day. I mean, I wasn't following the weather. You know, it's not cold here by any stretch of the imagination. But we do have some wind, and usually when the wind's coming out of the north like that, pretty strong, it favors horses that close. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
It could be interesting, something to watch. If coming from the north, it would be right in the riders' faces on the back stretch behind them, coming into the stretch towards the wire. So as you mentioned, could be beneficial for some closers. But something just to keep in mind as the wind is pretty strong out there today. But got the hair tied up, but we don't have to worry about that. The earrings may blow in the wind a little bit, though, Ron.
We got that. So we got a $150,000 jackpot guarantee. We had a horse alive yesterday, but it didn't pan out for the 4-horse in the last race. So we got the $150,000 jackpot guarantee, which starts in race number 5. And like we do each and every day, we have a couple of pick 5s on the ticket. And of course, Acacia gives you tickets for both of those. And there it is up there for $24.
I'll try to get an affordable ticket home here to kick things off. I spread in the first race. I think that the number 1, Crystal Coast, who is currently your favorite with Irad Ortiz, she makes sense, but she is already 0 for 7. Trainer Rodolphe Brisset has 2 in there. One, the number 3, Union Park Gal, with some experience and a first-time starter we'll talk about a little bit as well. Because I wanted to keep the ticket a little bit more affordable, I just felt most strongly about the number 3 last-minute deal in race number 2. So that's going to be my single. I just didn't really prefer anybody else in that spot. And this one's off the claim for Jorge Delgado. 2 deep in race number 3. 2 horses in the 4th race. Those are the 2 Antonio Sano runners in race number 4 who had a winner on yesterday's card as well. And I'm 3 deep in the 5th race. It was a key scratch of Don't Push Your Luck off the claim for Mike Maker, who was going to take a lot of money. But I'm 3 deep in there. We'll see what happens in that cash-out leg.
Yeah, that is the first leg of this afternoon's Rainbow Six. So they sort of meet each other at race number 5 this afternoon. Getting to the first race, it's a mile and a 16th on the turf. These are maiden claiming fillies, 3-year-olds, 25,000 down to 20. Scratch the main track only, number 4. And as you mentioned, the number 1 horse in here, Crystal Coast, is going to depart from the rail. They're going to get the Lasix today after responding to the drop down in competition with a second place finish at this level and distance. So I thought maybe this horse would run well in this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, she is the one to beat, given the connections and Irad Ortiz in the saddle, but she's going to be a short price. She is already 0 for 7. She did finish second last time out, but she has shown some natural speed and breaks from the rail. So we'll see if she just works out a trip in a race that does have a few fair share of questions. Trainer Rodolphe Brisset does have 2, as mentioned. Let's start with the one with experience, Ron, because her last race was pretty solid. She comes out of the same race as another horse in this field, in Irazu, who's the number 9, and will backtrack to December 23rd. This filly had debuted at Belterra Park, and I think that's why she was such a big price. Nobody really knew what to do with her coming in. She showed some speed. She ran well. Irazu was the number 11 that day, came from off of it, and ended up both of them being beaten by the one who's there going between horses in Cheerleader Barb. But tipping out there was the number 11, Irazu, a little bit all over the place and erratic. But having to set the pace, and down on the inside was Union Park Gal, who held on pretty well to hold 3rd. We'll see if she improves today.
Yeah, I think she moves forward off that performance last time out, but I think your long shot is the first-time starter from Rodolphe Brisset this afternoon.
It is. I took kind of the other one, you know, the longer price of the uncoupled entry kind of angle, and I found a stat which I found interesting on the barn. First-time starters on the turf with maiden claiming company. Very strong numbers, which I wasn't anticipating. 21% win and 50% of the time in the money, a positive ROI. This one's a filly by Animal Kingdom, has a pretty strong pedigree, top and bottom. So we'll see how this filly does, who's been training on the turf up at Palm Meadows, and she'll be a price.
Yeah, right now 10 to 1, but very early in the wagering, only early money on the 1, but that certainly can change. We'll go to race number 2 this afternoon. It's a 6 furlong sprint. These are maiden claimers, a state bred 3-year-olds, $25,000. We did did have a couple of scratches in this race, the 1 and the 5, so we'll be dealing with a 5-horse field. And I know in this particular race, I went with the 6 in here. This dude's no fool who's dropping a notch on the maiden scale after facing state-bred competition. Early trouble, finished third in there, was beaten a length against 35 open claimers. I think this is a good spot for Bobby DeBona.
And this horse did have some trouble last time checking back. But the problem with this colt is that he always seems to find trouble. Friar Tuck was a nice winner that day, and we liked the name as well that afternoon. It was a good third from this dude's no fool. Unfortunately, though, has been a little bit of a hard luck type, particularly early on in the race. We'll see if he gets a clean trip today. I landed on the kind of fresh face in that it's first off the claim, called by Jess's Dream, and that's last-minute deal. First off the claim for Jorge Delgado, who's done very well off the claim. Keeps Irad Ortiz, who rode him where he was beaten as the favorite last time out in state-bred competition. So I think this is an interesting trainer switch, just a kind of change of scenery in here for a barn that's good claiming horses.
Yeah, and you got to really pay attention. I read going to stick aboard for the new connections. Number 2, Converter is eligible to offer more after chasing the pace and finishing sort of a workman-like third, against similar competition for Jenna Antonucci. Gets Lasix today and gets Tyler Gaffleone.
And they Jenna teamed up for a win yesterday with Burma, who wired the field. So I think that certainly the barn's been going well right now, and this one will have to take a step forward. But if the other two have some of their questions, this could be a good spot to do it.
Well, race number 3 this afternoon, we're going to continue to be on the main track, the fast main track. It's a mile claiming event. Fillies and mares, 4 and up, $6,250. And there's a couple of ways you can go in here. I went with Hartling, but I can understand going with, Grace's Drama in this particular spot. I think we have a video we want to show of our last race.
We do. Well, this mare, now 7-year-old mare by Big Drama, won nicely last time out. Here's Grace's Drama, who keeps Louis Saez. She picked up Louis last time, and they piloted her to victory. And the benefit that she has is that she was a winner last time out at this condition, and I just thought ran very well. She also beat a couple in this field. Pretty game to kind of go in between horses right there at the quarter pole, and clearly just an older mare that knows her job, and Louis suits her quite well. Beat Sassy Justice and Assume Control, who was the 5 and the 2 in this race. Assume Control was closing late on the outside, but beat a couple of others in this field. She's kind of the known entity, I would say, whereas Hartling, now second time with Saffy Joseph, and then Itana, who I liked as the class dropper.
Yeah, Hartling has shown in the past that she can string together back-to-back victories. Wheels Back responded to the drop-down with that victory at this level and distance. You mentioned the connection. Saffy Edgard going for 2 in a row. Grace's Drama. Atana, I had a little further down on my ticket this afternoon.
I just took a shot with her because she's dropping in class. She does have Irad Ortiz aboard, so she may take a little bit more money than I had hoped. But well beaten last time out, but against much tougher. I mean, Decente was just blew away that field after coming out of a claiming crown victory. And 2 starts back, 1 for 62.50 in the non-3 condition. So I'm hoping that this is just kind of a back-to-basics move.
Well, let's go back to the Turf 4 race number 4. It's a mile, a turf event for claimers, 3-year-olds. They run for $35 down to $25,000. We do have a scratch of the 7 and 8. Those are both the main track participants in this race. And we both went with the number 2, Mr. Leonardo, who's turning back to the mile today after surrendering that late lead when finishing second, beat and a half length against those 25 starter optional claimers, going a mile in the 16th. We were talking about Antonio Sano. It looks like he's going good. You get Irad in the saddle again this afternoon, and just off that performance, looks like a major player in the spot.
Yeah, it's a rematch between the 2 Antonio Sano runners, as he also has Go Mike in here too, who actually got the best of his stablemate last time, and it seemed like as the favorite, Mr. Leonardo was really the one to keep your eyes on as he was dropping in class from facing much tougher competition. Tarantino, 2 starts back, who's going to be switching to dirt and running in the Holy Bowl this Saturday. So I think that this is going to be where Mr. Leonardo turns it around. It was funny. I saw Antonio after the race, and he goes, I thought Mr. Leonardo was going to win that time, and Go Mike got the best of him, but he certainly holds a strong hand in here with these 2 runners.
Yeah, Go Mike, defeated the stablemate going 8.5. I like Mr. Leonardo a little better going a mile. And then they got the number 5, Uncle Fun, in here that I use. Broke his maiden going a mile, a couple of starts back, shortens up after closing to finish 4th behind the Sano duo last time out for Liz Dobles. You're getting strong finisher Louis Saez in the saddle.
And you are Uncle Fun.
Yeah, Uncle Fun. That's a good name for me, I guess. Well, with that, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have a funny Rainbow Six ticket. And welcome back to Gulfstream today. It's Ron and Acacia on a little bit of a breezy Thursday afternoon. The main track is fast. The turf course is firm this afternoon. And I think we have something we want to talk about here. And I think, what was it
Are
again?
you trying to avoid the subject?
Yes,
Beat the expert.
yes, beat the expert, yes. I knew we had to talk about this sooner or later. Beat the expert. I'm up tomorrow, Friday. If you pick more winners than me, it seems to be a very easy thing to do. But you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's absolutely free. You go to GulfstreamPark.com and you get a chance to win one of those cool polo shirts with Beat the Expert on the side. And when they let fans back in here, you know, we do let some fans back in. You can wear the shirt and tease me when you come back. So Beat the Expert Friday. Make sure you check it out.
You can go on the Gulfstream Park website under the racing tab. Free to enter. 10 race card tomorrow afternoon with first post at 12:35. And you have until first race post time to get your picks in. And all I can say, Ron, is better you than me.
Yeah. Okay, she'll be here next week.
Week, yeah.
So the Rainbow Six, as we mentioned at the top of the show, $150,000 jackpot guarantee. So I put together a $43.20 ticket this afternoon. I did go to use the same three horses that you used, Acacia, Imagery, Lime, and Driving Wind. I also had the two that I moved a couple of horses up after the scratch of the two horses in that race. Too deep in race number 6 with Jossie Jack and Ubiquitous, who is a half to chance it. Oh, boy, is that going to be exciting. And race number 7, I think Dr. Shane is the one to beat in there, but I also used J.P. Hellish on my ticket. Then I got some coverage the rest of the way down. My long shot was scratched this afternoon. I thought it was the lone speed in race number 10, but I did go 3 deep with the 4, 10, and number 11.
I like it, 43.20. That last race is pretty competitive, too. I know that you had liked a long shot speed play, but I think with that main speed out, it makes the race even a little bit trickier to
I couldn't figure out the pace. That's why I like the horse. Well, we'll talk about that horse another day in here. Let's, I started it off in your case with the number 8 Imagery, who's the daughter of strong turf sire Dominus, debuting on the grass and getting both Lasix and blinkers today after showing speed and fading. That was a 6-furlong debut in the slop, but it turned out to be a monster key race up at Aqueduct that produced 4 next out winners from 7 starters. So you've seen this race up there for Mike Trombetta, and you're getting Jose Ortiz named to ride. I just thought it was, coming out of the key race, had to put this one on top.
No, absolutely. By Dominus, as you mentioned, and that was a runner in that race who was meant to run on turf. They kept her in, when the race did come off the grass, and the track was pretty wet that day. But as you said, even with it coming off the turf, it turned out to be full of quality, especially Amalfi Princess, who came back with a 71 buyer speed figure next time out. Blinkers do go on today, too. Did show a little bit of speed last time in that sprint on turf. And Mike Trombetta has a 1-2 punch in here, as he also has the number 5 In Vain, who ran okay behind a couple of others at a big price last time in that turf debut. So clearly she could handle the grass, as she was beaten just a length and a quarter.
Well, we were talking all about the scratch of the 2, Don't Push Your Luck, who was the 5-2 morning line favorite. The other horse that was in that race was Driving Wind, who you have on top of your ticket.
I ended up scratching into this one. I do like to see top riders taking them out for this filly by Big Blue Kitten. Obviously, turf is where it's at for this one. And I think it's clear that sprinting is what she prefers as well. Ran very well last time behind Don't Push Your Luck, who would have been a short price. Luis Saez is up, sticking at the 5 furlong, sticking at the 50,000. Just seems like it's a good spot. But you never know if perhaps the number 8 Imagery or even Lime off the layoff could take a big step forward today.
Yeah, Line dropping to the 50 level and receiving Lasix's first outing since showing speed and fading against the boys. That was here during July. It's Wesley Ward. Johnny V, you got to pay attention to number 7, Lime, in race number 5. With that said, we'll go to race number 6 this afternoon, 6 1/2 furlongs, maiden special weight, state bred 3-year-olds, and this is where we kick off our late pick 5. And let's take a look at Acacia's ticket, $36.
No singles for the late pick 5 sequence here. I'm 3 deep. I'm all first-time starters in this first leg. Ubiquitous, as you mentioned, with the big pedigree. There's also a big pedigree on Twice Too Many. Soup and Sandwich, a live oak homebred, which is a great name, by the way. And I've got 2 horses, Dr. Shane as well, in race number 7. I also used Farley, who was beaten just a neck at this level of competition in that condition, non-winners of 1 in a year claimer last time out. It's a nice field on the dirt going a mile in race number 8. I'm using Gloria Florida, who I think should sit a great trip. Storm Runner ran a huge race in the Claiming Crown Jewel behind Jesus' team, who then was second in the Pegasus World Cup, and now we're hearing is on to the Dubai World Cup next, so wishing them the best of luck. Obviously flattered by that competition. 2 deep in the third, and I've got 3 horses in the nightcap, that tricky race on the turf, to wrap things up.
$36, very affordable, and we'll see how this plays out with all the first-time starters you pick. I did go with the number 2 horse in here, Joshy Jack, who was beaten the neck at this distance a couple of starts back, shortens up, tracked the pace, finished third as the favorite, going a one-turn mile last time out for Antonio Sano. He's going to hook up with Junior Alvarado atop the son of Kozan.
And I've been a big fan of Kozan, as you know, and I think that this one has run well in all 3 starts so far, but I do prefer him sprinting. And my biggest reason for not including him, and it was kind of actually backed up yesterday when Sir Ollie came back and didn't win. I didn't think that Sir Ollie race was really the strongest for a state-bred maiden special weight. I'm kind of more going off the maiden 25 race that he ran in his debut. So that led me to kind of go more towards the first-time starters. He absolutely could run well today, turning back in distance. I was just kept going back to the number 4, Soup and Sandwich. I know I love the name. Live Oak, homebred out of Super Scoop. Of course, you have all the soup names in here, but this is a colt by Into Mischief. And in the second generation, pretty strong family in here, been working steadily up at Palmettos. And I know that typically from the Cassie barn, you don't always see firsters maybe ready to roll off the bench. But this one just kind of had a look with some of these stamina-enhancing workouts up at Palmettos. And I'm going to take a shot with this one going 6.5. I read Ortiz up, kind of pushed it over the edge for me.
Well, everybody's going to be seeing how the number 5 ubiquitous runs, being that half-brother to multiple stakes winner, chance at debuting for Safi, of course, who trains chance at steady local work tab showing. Son of Perspectives gets LASIK, Tyler Gaffleone. This barn also not known for first-time starters to have them all the way cranked up. But, I mean, just the breeding alone, you have to give it a second look.
Yeah, absolutely. Chance It did win in his second start, and I still think he's, better sprinter, one-turn type of horse. We'll see when he does come back off of that layoff what he still could do, but obviously very precocious and talented runner in some of these stakes down here at Gulfstream. So this one we'll see for the same owners, Shooting Star Thoroughbreds, wishing them the best of luck with the brother to their star that they've had. And then you've also got the 3 Twice Too Many, who's a gelding by the Big Beast Have To Grade 1 winner Pattern Recognition, who won the Cigar Mile.
Show you a quick stat on Brian Lynch with the number 3, Twice Too Many. Over the last 5 years with his 3-year-old first-time starters on the dirt, he's solid, 14%, 37% in the money. I like the fact that he's still got a positive return of investment. So an interesting race there. Keisha's going all first-time starters. I'm trying to get Joshy Jack with those first-time starters underneath. Race number 7, we're back on the turf. It's about 7 1/2 furlongs on the turf. As I mentioned, 4 and up non-winners of a race since July 28th. So a dated claimer, $16,000, no scratches, field of 9. We both went with the number 1, Dr. Shane. If I believe this is your best bet on the afternoon.
It is. I've always been a fan of this horse. I have a soft spot for Dr. Shane. I don't know what it is about her, but he's an 8-year-old gelding now by Freud. He's just been around forever, it feels like, and he ran in this condition last time, and I really thought that was going to be the time that he was going to get it done. He was beaten by 3/4 of a length by Zap Daddy. Going to give him one more shot today. I think this is a great spot for him to get back to the winner's circle, and hopefully sometimes with these older horses, you need to drop them into a level where they can get the win, where they fit, and we know Danny Gargan is realistic about those drops in class, and so I do think that he fits here. Let's see if he's able to get the job done.
Yeah, I like him breaking from the rail because he's got that speed on the inside for Danny, as you mentioned, winning races here about 40%. And you get Louis Sayers in the saddle today. The number 4, J.P. Hellish, is hoping for a cleaner trip this afternoon. Have to steady early and rally between horses when finishing third in that race with Dr. Shane for Joe Orsino. And he keeps the status quo. He's got Paco Lopez in the saddle today.
And he, I think, would be the controlling speed. He wasn't able to do that last time out, but the races prior to that and even before that significant layoff was pretty sharp out of the gate. beat. I think that the number 5 Farley for Antonio Sano has a similar look to Dr. Shane. He was beaten in neck at this condition. In fact, dead heat for second last time out. So let's see if he's another one that can kind of recapture some of that form.
Yeah, third start back from the layoff for the 5 Harley, and I was thinking almost it was going to be a 3-horse photo finish in there. They were all right at the wire, exact same time. So that is the number 5 Farley. So Dr. Shane, Farley, and J.P. Hellich for Acacia. Race number 8, a 1-mile starter allowance, 4 and up, starting for $30,000 or less. And you alluded to Star Runner in here, who was pretty impressive last time out.
Yeah, for Dale Roman, Storm Runner last time out in the Claiming Crown Jewel, as we'll backtrack to opening weekend here at Gulfstream Park. Showed a lot of speed and was able to hold on pretty well there in the red cap and the Team Valor colors and hold off a classy horse that was chasing him down. And Jesus' team got the win here in the Claiming Crown. We've learned from Jose Francisco D'Angelo after that he wasn't 100% fit coming into this Claiming Crown. He did go on to be second in the Pegasus behind Nick's Go, and again now Dubai World Cup bound. But Storm Runner at 13-1, who showed the speed, he held on pretty well. Looked like he was coming back for a second there. Even gave Jesus' team a good run for his money.
Yeah, I was sort of I put him on top, but I don't know if the mile is going to be the best for him. That, of course, was 9 furlongs there. But his Dale Romans certainly flattered by Jesus' team and all the horses in the Claiming Crown Jewel. So we'll see how Storm Runner there runs in there today. You went with the 3 Gloria Florida, who's hoping to find a little more firepower today for the stretch run.
I kept going back to this horse. I know that it was beaten by Well Defined last time, but this horse, Well Defined, was one of the main pace setters, and now going to have Storm Runner in here. I just kept looking at it thinking that there could be a fair bit of speed. So I'm hoping that Gloria Florida, who doesn't need to be too far off of it, Kanani likes to come from the clouds. Gloria Florida can kind of be tactical right behind those pace setters. Keeping Luis Saez ran well last time, just outgamed a little bit first time off the claim for Laura Casares. So I'm going to give this one a shot, and I know that he will be a little bit of a price in this field.
Yeah, you mentioned the number 2 Well Defined, trying to make it 3 in a row and second straight score at this 1-mile distance. After holding on to defeat those claimants by just a half length for Kathleen. Luca Panici going for the hat trick this afternoon. I think these are the logical tricks. Really interested to see how the number 5 Storm Runner runs at a mile distance. We're going to flip the page and go to race number 9 this afternoon. We're on the turf. We're sprinting 5 furlongs. Starter allowance, fillies and mares 4 and up. Started for 20 or less. They'll have 7 in the field. Paint Them Blues Away, I think, is a logical contender in here.
I would think so, after winning the last 5 in a row. In fact, just a neck away from being undefeated in the last 7 starts. I mean, how good is this mare going right now? As we can roll the tape for the last start. Stepping up in class as well, and she was 3-1 that day from post 11, and she got the job done so impressively. I mean, she's the one to beat in here, but I guess you do kind of wonder, when does it stop? Can a horse like this just keep winning races? And she absolutely could in here. Everything's been so great recently. I took a little shot with the horse that finished right behind her, Insanity, and that one's picking up by Rad Ortiz for Kelly Breen, who's been going, the barn's been going well for Kelly Breen. I think that Paint Them Blues Away is the one to beat, but you wonder, can she make it 6 in a row? It's a tall order for any horse.
Well, I was thinking that exact thing, but I like the fact that they freshened her. She's coming back, so she was fresh. It's not like she's going for 6 straight with no break in action. So she had that layoff. She come back, and as you mentioned, she did it from an outside post. She was so impressive. Sanity, who does her best running from in the latter stages of the race, you're absolutely right, can sit in the garden spot. You would think there's going to be a fast pace in here. She almost got the job done, as you mentioned, when finishing second behind Paint Them Blues Away. I split it with the number 7, Kiffle, who's stepping it up a notch. She tracked those fractions last time of 20-3 and 43-1 en route to a victory against 16 starter allowance runners for Bobby Hess. Tyler Gaffalione to ride. Paco obviously is going to stick with Paint Them Blues Away.
Yeah, and he rides a lot for Jane Sabelli during the Monmouth meet as well, so it makes a lot of sense. But Tyler Gaffalione's ridden this mare, Kiffle, quite a few times, though on the dirt too. But she did have a very fast pace to sit just off of last time, as you had mentioned. We'll see if she can repeat that effort, as clearly she can handle sprinting on the turf.
Well, the 10th and final race this afternoon, as we've talked about all during the show, it's a tough one today, especially with the scratch of the 2. But that was my just guess that one might be a speed play there. Was 20-1 on the morning line, so a lot of people might have said, well, you sure that was the speed? But with that said, mile into 16, 4 and up, non-winners of a race since July 28. It's a split of the race a little earlier on for $16,000. I scratched into the number 10, Battle of Blenheim, who's moving a few spots inward this afternoon after breaking from post 12, bumping at the start, finished at 4th, going 16 against those 16 open claimers for Dave Brady, Tyler Gaffleone, 4-time local turf winner. I just thought this horse would sit behind the speed, so I bumped it up. I hope there's some pace that this horse can run at.
I think that the benefit is that this horse, Battle of Blenheim, actually has some tactical speed. I would imagine maybe this 3 playing hooky off, second off that big layoff now, could potentially be the controlling speed in here. Before the layoff was showing a lot more early speed than he did last time, and does have Luis Saez in the saddle. I liked all along, actually, the number 7, Prince of Arabia, who's just kind of a class play. The biggest concern is, of course, that he will be coming from off of it, but he's also been running significantly longer distances, so I'm not concerned about him getting the distance today. Maybe he really wants to go a bit longer than this, but in the past, in some of his starts, he has been able to be kind of up close and on top of the pace a little bit more. It's just a class drop versus the company that he's been facing recently.
Well, number 4 is another trying to $16,000 daily claimers. Shook off had like sort of an unprepared start. Has had his head turned in that race. Finished a late closing 6 against 16 claimers for Jose Gallegos. You get Naira returning on the son of Soldat. He's willing to give this horse another chance after that poor start. I'm going to jump on board here and use this one on my exact and try ticket.
And I should have used him. I think he was my long shot 2 starts back when he was 15-1 and finished second. And I've always liked this horse a bit. So let's hope he's able to get a cleaner trip today. He is the half-brother to Harvey's Little Goyle, which I love as well.
Yeah, and La Hincha, another one that we both have somewhere on the ticket, is stretching out to the mile in the 16. Returned to freshening, finished a dead heat for second. Again, similar, going 7.5 furlongs. Paco Lopez going to ride for Joe Orsino this afternoon.
And he dead heated with Farley in that race. So look how Farley runs earlier, and that can kind of be a key for him as well.
That can be the old key race angle that we'll have to keep a tabs on throughout the afternoon. So with that said, we're about to go to our lightning round right now.
Yes, we are getting ready. And of course, it is Holy Bull week, Ron. And we drew the field yesterday, our first race of the season here at Gulfstream Park with Kentucky Derby points on the line. 10 points for the Holy Bull on Saturday. A field of 9. Here they are with morning line odds. You have Greatest Honor at 5-2 for Shug McGahee. Todd Pletcher has 2 in there, including Prime Factor, who's going to be stretching out in distance. He's 3-1 after a very impressive debut.
Yeah, I put Prime Factor on top of Greatest Honor, the only horse in the race to previously win at the mile and the 16 distance, one of my favorite angles. So a great race, and that'll be on Saturday afternoon. $200,000 Grade 3, the Holy Bull.
That'll go as race 11 of 12. We'll have a stacked card coming up on Saturday. Looking forward to that. We'll have the Swale as well as many other stakes on that afternoon. But of course, the highlight, that Holy Bull. Then we're on to the Fountain of Youth and the Florida Derby after that. An exciting time of year, Ron.
Yeah, this is the time of the year. You know, 10 points, you say, but those 10 points could come in handy a little later on. And of course, we're hoping that the base at the first Saturday in May will be the Kentucky Derby this year. We got great hope that that will be the case.
Absolutely. And our Kentucky Derby preps here at Gulfstream have been very fruitful for those Triple Crown races. But looking at our top 5 in the jockey and trainer standings, it's Irad Ortiz and Todd Pletcher who are atop the standings right now. Irad Ortiz surpassed Luis Saez now with 57 wins. Here's a look at the top 5 jockeys.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. They're going to be separated by 1 at the end of the meet. That's what happens every year. Irad's got a four race cushion on him right now. Paco right in there, riding great with 51 wins. Then you see Tyler and Edgar Zayat sort of stuck on 42, but he's got a couple of good mounts over the next couple of days, especially on Friday.
Hey, he's had a good meet so far. Again, happy to see him, a local jockey that stays here throughout the year, holding on in the top 5. But Todd Pletcher, he won the Pegasus World Cup Turf. In fact, ran 1, 2, 4 in the Pegasus World Cup Turf last week. He is very comfortably ahead now with 30 wins.
Yeah, what is it, 16 training titles here?
Yes.
16 train. That is just amazing. I remember years ago, trainers would get like 4 training titles at Gulfstream, and that would say it will never be surpassed. He's got 16.
That's okay. I think he's done well.
And Mr. Maker and Safi tied for a second with 23, and there's Mr. Antonio Sano.
Yeah.
He can catch these guys. He starts about 37 horses a day.
It does seem that way. Congratulations to those on the trainer and jockey standings. We'll keep everybody apprised as we continue on through the meet. We do pay tribute, though, to a star that has been retired, sharing for trainer Graham Motion when the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf in 2019. Here's a look back at that performance in those Eclipse Partners Silks after an incident in the paddock. She has retired. Unfortunately, she did come back to race in 2021. We won't get a chance to see her again, but a Maryland bred who was brilliant on the racetrack.
Yeah, I actually pulled her PPs just to refresh myself. And after the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf, she won the Tepin. She was second in the Coronation Stakes. Then she won the Edgewood. She was just incredible, this horse. 9 starts with 5 wins. Pretty good.
Yes, she was. So looking forward to seeing her offspring as well, as she's regally bred out of Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf winner Shared Account, also trained by Graham. So wishing her all the best and happy we will get to see her in her second career. Looking back this past week, though, Joel Rosario, he won 3 graded stakes, 2 of them here at Gulfstream with Performer and the Fred Hooper, and the one and only Knicks Go in the Pegasus World Cup, after that Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile victory. And it looks like Ronnie Knicks Go might be on to Saudi Arabia for the Saudi Cup after this, but Joel Rosario named Jockey of the Week.
I just think back of watching this race, everybody was going, well, when's Knicks Go going to stop after those blistering early factions? And what he did, he drew off to win it. So it was a very impressive performance, and love Joel. Just a great rider and a great person. Miss him here, being here all the time, but he rides out in California. But when he comes here, he does a good job. He
does. He came here for the weekend, picked up 2 graded stakes while doing that one out in California as well. So congratulations to Joel. Not only is it Beat the Expert Day tomorrow, Ronnie, but we'll also have the Stronach 5 back. And do note, Santa Anita canceled Friday racing due to weather, but we'll have 3 races from here at Gulfstream and everything, all sorts of great action for you to take part in.
Yeah, the low 12% takeout. We had a big carryover last week, and it paid like $12,000. And as Pete always says, Pete Aiello, Overlay City, and that's probably going to be the case. And those 3 races from Gulfstream Park are not easy to handicap. I do the Superstar ticket, whatever they call it, with races
Superstar.
8, whatever the heck they call it, 8, 9, and 10. They're tough races.
They are. Hopefully you can help us out in there, Ron. And it's on Beat the Expert Day 2. Hope you all play the Stronach 5 as always every week. It's a lot of fun to be part of, and it's a lot of fun listening to the one and only Pete Aiello as he's up next with Scratches and Changes.
Point of entry's taking the lead. Point of entry wins.
Plaku Parfait is finishing hard along the inside. Plaku Parfait takes out the Derby.